guys, happy Sunday, hope you're doing really well. I'm B, just in case you don't know that. I hope you've been having an amazing week. We've been having some good hot weather, haven't we? It's been so boiling today, I feel like I'm melting, so hopefully Sunday is a little bit cooler. Who knows? Today we are having Alice lead us in a game and Ben lead us in a thought. So I shall be watching alongside you guys. But yeah, I won't see you now. I'll see you next week. But enjoy.
Good morning, Soul Kids. Great to see you. My name is Alice and I'm going to be bringing you the game this morning. So, this is the game, you might have done it before, where you have to shut your eyes and try and draw something, but you can't look at it. So for this game, you're going to need a pen, a piece of paper, and if you're not going to be able to shut your eyes without peeking, get a blindfold. I can't tie it onto myself, so I'm just going to trust myself to keep my eyes shut, but feel free to use a blindfold if you want to. And today, the thing we're going to be drawing is a big challenge. I'm going to try and ask you to draw a picture of yourself. It can be your face or your whole body. You're going to have 30 seconds and remember to keep your eyes shut or to keep blindfolded. Doesn't matter how it goes, let's just see who can draw a picture of themselves with their eyes shut. Okay, you're going to have 30 seconds starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Right. Apparently it's easier if you keep your pen on the paper. Oh, well done. I'm sure you're getting off to a great start. I'm going to try and draw my whole body. I think I've forgotten parts of my face. Well done, everybody. Keep going. Sure, your pictures are looking great. This is an interesting new lockdown skill, blind drawing. Let's see how you do. A few seconds left. Okay, time is up. Okay, look at your picture, show your picture. This is me. Can you see the resemblance? I can't tell a difference. I'm sure your guys' drawings are great too. Well, it's been fun to play a game with you. Have a nice morning, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Hey Soul Kids, it's me Ben and I'm going to be leading the thoughts this week. This month we've been looking at the life of Jesus and we've covered different topics and different people. We've looked at injustice and we've looked at Jesus' baptism and the life of Zacchaeus and forgiveness. And today I want to be looking at the time Jesus was tested in the wilderness because it's really important, especially at this time when we've been in lockdown for so long and now we're starting to come out of it, that some of us may have been tested and it may have been really difficult for us over this time, but it's also to remember that Jesus found it very difficult as well, and that, like him, we can put our faith in God. So this is going to be the last time that we properly look in depth at Jesus' life this month, because it's the last Sunday of this month. But we will look at Jesus again. Okay. I will be reading from Matthew 4, starting at verse 1. Jesus is tested in the wilderness. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendour. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Then the devil left him, and the angels came and attended him. So this passage is really important to be remembering because this is right after Jesus' baptism. And he goes away and he's in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. And he didn't eat, which that's a long time to be not eating. And it even says in verse 2, he was hungry. That's a bit of a weird thing to just put there, but he must be really, really hungry. Can you even go a whole day without eating? I know I can't. I've got to have many meals and many snacks every day. And so the devil comes to him and he says, go on, make those stones into some bread. You know, you're really hungry. Have some bread, have something to eat. And then Jesus tells him that man shall not live on bread alone. Now, that might be a difficult concept to understand, but what he's trying to say is that God can provide this nourishment and this health that he needs, because that's what he's been doing. In these 40 days, he's been praying and listening to God. And while it's been really difficult, he's not needed to eat because God has helped him live. Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the highest point. He then tells Jesus to jump off because then the angels will catch him. And you may see that there's a little bit that's indented in your Bible that the devil is then quoted. And this is from a previous bit in the Bible, which is from the book of Psalms. But it's saying, essentially, that if Jesus jumped, the angels would catch him. And that's what the devil is trying to quote. So the devil is trying to use the Bible against Jesus. However, Jesus then says, it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. And that's from even earlier in the Bible of the book of Deuteronomy. And this is really important because the devil tried to trick Jesus with using some Bible against him. But actually, Jesus knows his Bible because he is God. He knows what was written because this is a book from God, basically. So he then knows that you should not be testing God. And yes, he may have been caught by the angels, but it shouldn't be a test, because that's not something we should do. That's not a nice thing to do to God. We shouldn't test him. And then the final thing he did is he took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world. And he said that he will give that to Jesus. All those kingdoms he'll give to him if he bows down and worships him. Now, this is very tempting to a lot of people, because if you think all the kingdoms of the world, well, that's probably going to mean that it means the whole world at that point in Jesus' life. So imagine that someone told you that all you need to do is bow down and worship them, and they'll give you rulership over the whole world. Now, that's a very big thing, but as Christians, that's nothing that we should be doing, because the only one we should worship is God. And Jesus knows that. And that's why there's even an exclamation mark when he says, away from me, Satan. Because he knows how important it is just to be worshipping God. And that's what he even says, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. And so there's this 3 tests that the devil tries to use against Jesus. He tries to make him use his powers to turn some stones into food because he's going to be hungry. He tries to test God by saying that God would catch him. And then he tries to make Jesus worship him by giving him the option of trying to give him the whole world to have command over. However, Jesus stays strong. Even though he's been out there for 40 days and 40 nights, he is very tired, he's very hungry. He says no, because he's got God on his side, and he's been using this time to get to know God even better. And so we need to remember that sometimes we can go through really difficult times. Sometimes they can be really long times. So like this time in lockdown has been a really long time for a lot of people. And so it can be really difficult, even now, to remember that we can spend this time with God. You know, we've got all this time that we've had. And we can spend time reading the Bible, listening to some worship music, watching these videos as part of that, or even joining in with some of the Sunday service. And so it's really important to make sure that we spend time with God and that we're not trying to be tempted to do anything that isn't godly. And we also have to remember that as we start to return to a normal life, so with schools starting to open up again, maybe you've been to a few shops that haven't been closed for a while, maybe you're going to be going to a restaurant when they reopen. Life is starting to return to normal. It's not quite there yet, but there's maybe these opportunities for more temptation, more relaxation, and maybe it's opportunities to even not be reading your Bible, not to be watching these videos, or not to be just spending time with God. And it's really important that while we return to normal life, you start to remember, if you've got into a good routine, maybe you wake up in the morning, you read a bit of the Bible, or maybe you've been praying more regularly. When we return to normal life, maybe we want to try and keep some of those routines. Maybe it's going to be really good to continue praying in the morning if that's what you do. Maybe you listen to some worship music more regularly, because these are really good ways to get to know God better. And this is what Jesus did, because he spent those 40 days getting to know God better. And he did that right at the beginning of his journey to become this great, incredible teacher that he is. Before all these stories of his testimony and all these times that he performed his miracles, he went and spent time with God. And so that just shows how important it is to spend time with God. If Jesus did it, then surely it's good for us. And so I think that's the message that we're going to be sending you today with, is that it's important to spend time with God. And that's what Jesus did. And with time with God, he was able to say no to the devil 3 times, to say no to the devil trying to tempt him and to tempt God. So this week, maybe you want to be praying about, as you return to schools, if you have or haven't done yet, maybe you want some confidence there. Maybe you want to be able to continue doing some worship. Maybe you want to just continue watching these videos every now and then, because that's going to be really useful for keeping your relationship with God really strong. And so the final prayer I have for you today is that God will just give you some strength and wisdom and make his presence known to you in the areas that he's trying to make it known to you. And so, I pray that this week you can just go in safety, and maybe you're seeing some friends that you haven't seen for a while. Maybe if you've made good strength with God, that you can help spread the news of God to them if they don't know it. Maybe you could meet up with some of your friends and start to look at the Bible together or something, even in your own time. But that's it for today, and I hope that maybe you'll go over to the worship video and do some worship now, or maybe you'll join in with the main service when that's on, or maybe you have already. But we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Bye!